Egypt and the International Monetary Fund have recently come to a staff-level agreement on what is one of the largest IMF packages of financing in the Middle East region. The package hinges on Egypt's commitment and ability to push through economic reforms. Now, Egypt recently came to the IMF with an 18-month plan for reforms, and this is what enabled the IMF negotiations to reach a staff-level agreement. Now, tough negotiations are ahead as both sides crunch numbers on necessary parts of the deal, like pursuing a devaluation of the Egyptian pound, implementing a value-added tax, and cutting the hefty government bill on subsidies and salaries. Egypt has yet to come out of its post-Arab Spring economic slump. Right now, its budget deficit hovers close to 12% of GDP. They're trying to get that down more to 5.5% of GDP over the course of the next 3 years. And it costs about 30% of government revenue just to service Egypt's debt. This is a significant draw on Egypt's foreign exchange reserves, which are at dangerously low levels, about enough to cover 3 months' worth of imports. It's this equation that has driven Egypt to ask for aid from partners like the Gulf states, which have supplied billions of dollars worth of aid over the last 5 years. Egypt needs, though, those kind of structural reforms that actually implement change in the economy in such a way that would bring about jobs and in such a way that would bring about less of a draw on government coffers. One of the major challenges ahead as Egypt and the IMF try to come to a finalization of this agreement is really the political cost that this is going to cause for the Egyptian government. Pushing through the type of economic reforms required to sustain the IMF financing over 3 years, as is the plan, will require structural and painful reforms. Now, the Egyptian government is trying to shield some of the effects of this reform on the poorest parts of the Egyptian population, but it's inevitable that some of the changes that the Egyptian government is going to make with taxes and with food and fuel subsidies are going to affect the Egyptian population. This is the major challenge moving forward, and it's communicating about this and about the challenges ahead that is one of the primary goals of the Egyptian government right now, to make it really clear that the reforms are coming from the government and not from the IMF.